Jake Hoff, man. I appreciate you doing this, man.
Absolutely. Happy to be talking with you.
All right. Happy to be talking to someone, right? People. It's good, right?
Someone outside of my family.
Yeah, I definitely say I'm outside of your family, but where are you at right now? You on the West Coast, East
I'm
Coast?
in Los Angeles right
Los
now.
Angeles. That's right. You got shows coming up, right? This week, the 8th?
Let's see. Yeah, where am I next? I'm in Norfolk, Nebraska on like the 9th,
Yeah.
and then Fort Collins, Colorado on
And then
the
here,
16th, and then Chicago
Right.
a few days later. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be good. I came across you through Dean, right? Dean Del Rey. I remember I messaged you on the Instagram, and I
Right.
saw him
Yeah,
in
I
the
did
photo.
a show with Dean, and he photobombed me.
You photobombed, dude. That's
I
son of a
see you
bitch.
got the Dean Del Rey shirt on.
You know what? Yeah, I wore it because I don't buy much shirts, dude. I'm weird. Like I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm very weird about buying shirts because I used to work at a concert venue
Okay.
before the pandemic, and like every band that would come through, I'd always buy a concert shirt. Now I have all this money pooled up in concert shirts that I don't even wear. Right? I just get it because like I was there working the show.
Right.
But then it's like then I find shirts that I really like this one I got. And I'll wear this one all the time. So it's like I have an issue with shirt buying and stuff like that. But
So you got like 5 shirts, and you'll do your laundry every 5th day, and
the
just
whole drawer is filled with like
right back.
500 shirts, but this is the same 4 in rotation. It makes no
You've
sense.
got like 500 shirts, and you don't wear most of them. Well,
It's
of
like
course
4.
you don't, because
It's like 4 shirts.
you wear like 4. Really? I would think, working at a concert venue, you'd have a whole bunch of like really cool shirts just from bands
Yeah.
coming through.
I mean, a lot of the
No?
bands I don't like though. Some of them too, like
Ah,
Jefferson
okay.
Starship. I mean, they're great, but it's like I'm not gonna wear Jefferson Starship. But
You're not gonna wear Jeff. Give me that shirt. I'll wear the.
Jefferson
Are we the
Starship.
same size?
I don't know, medium, but I think you're a little bit bigger than me, dude. Look at this. It's like a freaking toothpick. I mean, come on.
I'm
But,
in between a medium and large. I could do a medium if it's not too tight.
Oh man, but no, this is great. You've been out. When did you start doing shows again? With the whole everything starting to open up again.
So everything canceled. When everything went,
Right.
when the wheels fell off the world, I was on an airplane. I had a show in Michigan that night, and everything got canceled. Like they canceled March Madness. They were canceling everything.
Right.
And I remember I called my manager. I said, "Hey, is this show happening?"
Right.
She said, "They say it's happening." I called the venue. I said, "Hey, I'm coming in from out of town." I didn't tell him I was one of the performers. I was coming in from out of town. I said, "I'm coming in from out of town. Is this show happening?" They said, "Yes." And so I said, "All right." And I got in the airplane, and I had to connect in Chicago
Oh boy.
to get on to Michigan. I land in Chicago, and I get a call. They're like, "It's canceled." So right away, I just go right back up to the American Airlines ticket booth, and I'm like, "Hey, can you just send me back from whence
Yeah.
I came?" And they said, "All right." So I just
great.
went straight back, both packed flights. And I remember the week before I was traveling as well. And the week before, a guy was wearing a mask on the flight right next to me. And I was like, "Man, do I
Weirdo.
stink?
What a
Like,
weirdo,
why?"
man.
I really thought, I was like, "What do I smell?" Like, it wasn't even in my radar
Mhm.
that we were about to face this thing. I was like,
Oh,
man,
man, that's crazy.
my morning breath must be killing this dude.
Yeah.
And then a week later, we were all wearing them.
Yeah, you know what? And the thing is like after a while, you get tired of even talking about it, right? So it's exciting. Like we're all back to doing like shows are back, right?
Right.
You're getting back in the clubs for the first time though in a while. I mean, how long have you been doing this? This
I've
comedy
been
thing.
doing it for a while. So yeah, that
What's a
since
while?
2000, I started at the end of 2005.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
So 16 years, but then yeah, and for 16 years, I hadn't taken more than maybe a week between shows. Most of the time, it's 5 to 7 shows a week. And occasionally around the holidays or something, I take like a week off, but I hadn't taken more than a week off, in 16 years, 15 years. And then all of a sudden March, and I didn't have a show until October. And I had a couple of shows in October. Then I didn't have anything till December. I had a couple in December. Then January started picking up, and now I'm back to shows just about every week.
Oh, dude, that's exciting. So in 2005, you start. What were you doing before that?
So I went to college at Indiana University.
Oh, okay.
And graduated in 05, and then moved right out to California. I always knew I wanted to do stand-up.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
as soon as I graduated, I was like, "That's it." Didn't have a job.
What would
I
you
was
major in?
Sleeping on the floor of a friend of a friend. I was a business major. I went
Business
to
major.
yeah. I got a business degree, and now I'm in show business.
That's great.
So I'm using a little bit of it.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I think Michael Palisak had this sort of the same thing. I think he went to Xavier. He's studying English. How he's doing
Uh-huh.
comedy. I think the thing that blows my mind is Aaron Weber. He went to Notre Dame.
Oh
He's
yeah.
doing comedy now. It's like
Yeah, well, you know what?
it's weird.
I'm
It just
convinced
hits
that the
you.
government uses college just to set 18 to 22-year-olds aside so they don't ruin everything.
Yeah.
Because if you just let them loose, they're going to destroy things. They're no good in the workforce yet. They're just going to ruin the world. So you put these campuses in different places and you say, okay, here you guys marinate for a few years over here. Let that frontal lobe of your brain form before you
Mm.
come out here and everything goes to hell.
Oh man, it's crazy. So where you were at Hoosiers, right? Indiana
Yes.
University. So was there clubs there? Is that where you kind of start cutting your teeth in the college town?
No.
Oh
So I
man.
wanted to. I had been writing since junior high. So I remember, and I even still have like some of my junior high notebooks of like jokes that I had been writing. And I tried 3 times. I
Mm.
tried as a senior in high school. I was going to do the annual talent show, and then I forgot. And I had a golf tournament, and I was gone at the golf tournament. I didn't tell anybody, and I guess they announced my name. They said, "And now your final performer doing stand-up comedy, Nick Hoff." They thought I was just in the crowd somewhere, like gonna
That's
run
the
up and
big
do.
joke. That's it.
And then I just wasn't there. I had completely forgotten. So that was the first time I was gonna do it, and I had all the inside jokes of my high school. And then I tried a couple times in college. Well, I tried to get on a couple times in college
Hmm.
because there was a one nighter there. And I called the place and I said, "Hey, do you think I could come do 5 minutes sometime?" They said no. I said, "Okay." And then also George Carlin came my
Oh
freshman
wow.
year of college, and I was a guest usher. So if you showed people their seats, you could stand in back and watch all the shows for free.
Yeah, that's a good job.
So,
Yeah.
oh, it was great. And so I knew the manager of the IU auditorium, and I said to him, I said, "Hey, I've got some jokes written. Do you think I could go on in front of George?" And the guy goes, "What are you, crazy? I'm not gonna let you go bomb in front of 2,600 people." But in my mind, I wasn't gonna bomb. In my mind, I was gonna crush it. And George
Right.
is gonna be like, "You're coming with me, kid. You've got it. You don't need this college stuff. Screw the business degree."
Yeah. That's crazy. Did you ever get to open for him?
No,
No.
nope,
Damn
nope.
it.
I saw him there. It was just a few months after September 11th. And
Oof.
have you heard the George Carlin story about September 11th
I have not,
when
but I
he
heard some
recorded
of
an album?
Marin's. I've heard some of Marin's that was just some his material. Like he started doing stuff like 2 months after 9/11, and he threw in a couple, 9/11 jokes in New York at some of the clubs because I guess they
Yep.
didn't wait. They literally got right back into it. Like not even a month or two. They
Well,
were
what are you
right.
going to do? You're going to pause
Right.
your life.
Uh-huh.
It's like terrible things happen. And that's why a lot of people get into comedy.
Mm.
But George Carlin had recorded a special on the night before, on September 10th, 2001. He recorded a special that was called "I Kind of Like It When a Lot of People Die All at Once." That was the name of his special.
I didn't even know that.
And so he like got it in the can, shot it, the big, huge production, went to bed that night, woke up in the morning, and a lot of people died all at once. And like you can't release that then.
No,
So it's
you just
just in
changed the
some
title.
archives somewhere. It's just well, I'm sure he says it 1,100
Alive, yeah.
times throughout.
Oh my
I
gosh,
kind of like
man.
it when a lot of people die all at once.
I'm sure it could be his best material too. That's his
I
crazy thing.
mean, it's kind of a shame that all that is lost, just and something outside of his control. Like
Hmm.
you go as a comedian, you go through all these painstaking, you do shows, you do hundreds of shows, developing that material, you hone it, you alter it, and then all of a sudden something completely outside of your control happens, and all of a sudden now it's no good. Like
Damn it.
that was probably a couple of years of his life.
Them terrorists, man, that's horrible. They just ruined that. But,
Well, the other thing is horrible. It ruined some
right,
other people's
yes,
lives
true.
in a much more
Just a
profound
couple.
way.
No, I know,
But
I
he
know.
was
It's still
impacted.
crazy. It's just crazy. That's nuts. So, were you growing up? Were you the only one? Did you have brothers, sisters?
2 sisters, one
Two
on each
sisters.
side. Yep.
Ooh, how was that?
Oh, my FaceTime's going off right now. We're gonna cancel that.
Man, canceled.
Growing up with 2 sisters was good. It was
It's
good.
good.
I feel like maybe it made me soft in a way that's good, but also allowed me to have my voice. I wasn't overshadowed by an older brother or something.
Hmm.
You got siblings?
I do. I got a younger sister, and then I have an older brother who's married with. I don't even know. This is bad. There's so many guys. Got Suvi, James, Evie,
Are you counting
Garrison.
his kids?
Yes, that much. He's
Okay.
5. He's 5.
He's
But,
got 5 kids.
I have to count on my hands. It's only 5, but I forget sometimes. It's really bad. It is pretty
These
bad.
are your nephews and
Yeah,
nieces.
he's 35. I'm 25. My sister's 20. Yeah, 20.
Okay. How old are you?
gap.
You said
25. Just turned.
Yeah.
Big
Gotcha.
gap. Big gap, man.
That is a pretty good gap.
Yeah.
What
I don't know.
happened?
I don't know, man. Life, I guess. I mean, it was tough though. I think it was more tough. Like my sister didn't really know him. Like obviously she knows him, but when he graduated high school, he was going to college. My sister was born in 2001. He graduated high school in 05. So it was like there wasn't much there. So it's like
She's 4. She barely has memories of him. In the house.
Right. Yeah. So you were lucky though, right? You kind of. I mean, they were both kind of in the house for a good time.
Yeah, and we're close now. It's yeah, it was good. It was they were, they beat up on my older sister beat up on me a little bit, but I was able to defend myself.
How? What'd you do?
Well,
hit a girl, right?
I think when you're brothers and sisters, all bets are off. I think they throw those laws out the window until you're
That's funny.
until you're over 10, and then they say, okay, knock it off. But when you're under 10, I have vivid memories of like I've got battle scars. I've got like this thing on the back of my arm that is from her digging her nails in. I remember one time she escaped and she ran to get away from me, and she locked herself in my parents' car, and I just like looked, and right there in the garage was like a tennis racket, and I just started beating the car with a tennis racket.
Jesus,
Like, get out of there.
Tiger's wife.
My mom comes, exactly. I was Ellen or whatever her name is.
Whatever.
And so no, when you're that close in age and you're under the age of 10, I think all bets are off. I think
that's a good age. I think that's a good age.
Can't be tried as an adult, right?
Yeah,
After
I don't
10,
think you
they're
can.
like, you knew better.
Yeah. You had a joke sort of like that, right? Off your album, where it was about if she was if it was same sex, I'd deck that brother.
Yes. Yes, it's like the joke is, and probably I'm going to get canceled eventually for this joke.
I think everyone is, man. It's crazy. I'm on Facebook, like searching posts in 2015, just like saying, did I say something wrong? Because like they just tried to, Ellie Kempler. I saw something on the news the other day for her.
She was in a beauty pageant as a kid.
I'm like,
and the beauty pageant has like racist ties.
Man, I'm like, that's when I got on Facebook. I'm like, I'm just delete stuff that makes no sense. Like, there's nothing there, but it's horrible. You live in fear.
I haven't gone through to do a cleanse. I probably should, but I feel like I don't know. That's just a lot.
I'm not ashamed
of
of what's
content
out
to go
there,
through.
But it's just like,
and you got to give people room to grow, right? Like certainly you're a different person than you were 10 years ago. So social media has been around for you since what? It came around when you were probably
2004-ish is when Facebook started to.
So what? You probably like at the start of high school, you remember getting into it? Or no, probably earlier than that, huh?
2010 was funny. 2010 I started with Facebook.
Okay. So yeah, it's been around for a good portion of your life. And, certainly you can grow as a human being. I think we got to give people a little bit of latitude with that. Now, if they're still piping off at the mouth, then sure, go ahead.
Oh, there's those people everywhere. But I don't know. I feel like for those people, sometimes it's always them that takes them the longest before they get canceled. But the other people who do something like 92, they get canceled right away. I never understood that. You saw that with leaders and people, powerful people in the world running countries. You saw that. I'm like, what? It took that long,
Right.
It's just crazy. But when so you got two sisters. What did mom and dad do? What did they do for the careers?
Mom was a teacher until she had kids, and then she stayed home. And then when we left, she went back and she would take like long-term sub jobs. Dad owned. He started some gas stations, so he owned a small chain of gas stations.
Oh wow! How do you get into that? Like,
I'm
who do you
not
talk
really
to about that? Like, I've always been interested because Dean actually had a joke. He doesn't post much like jokes and stuff, but he actually posts something too about gas stations and jobs. And he answered a question I've been trying to figure out. It's like they have the new sciences under new management. He's like, who the fuck cares? I just go there, pump my gas, and I don't even walk. But yeah, how do you get into something like that?
I'm not really sure how he started.
Cool,
I know that it was when I was born, and he was doing a job. I think he was like a salesman, so he traveled a lot, and they wanted him to move somewhere. And he just looked at it and he said, you know what? I'm not going to live this life. I want to raise my family. And so he's like, what will enable me to do that? and it was to start his own thing. So I know there are companies out there that will help you identify good lots for certain businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he maybe used one of those companies. They
Oh, no
said,
kidding.
he's like, gas stations, this town that I'm, looking at that's close to where I grew up needs a gas station. Show me a good lot for it. And they did that, and he started it. It was a big success. So he opened a couple more.
Wow.
And by the time I left high school, I think he had 10 gas stations.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's a
So
lot.
he got
Damn.
into it and he loved it. He's got a great work ethic. I envy my dad's work ethic.
Yeah.
Because if I had that level of, like, he's got what Seinfeld does with jokes, my dad did with gas stations.
Oh, so
Like,
he's a good gas station guy.
he's the Seinfeld of gas station owners. He'd be out there on Saturday, like cleaning the car wash.
Oh,
And I
wow.
look at the car wash, I said, Dad,
It cleans
it's gonna
itself,
clean itself,
right? Yeah.
right? Like, people are spraying water all the time. Like, don't do it. He's like, no, you got to keep it nice or people won't. And I'm like, you're doing this on a Saturday, man. Like,
Damn.
he loved doing that stuff, and
Well,
that's
yeah,
part
that's
of what made
good.
it successful.
I mean, I hate what I do for work, but it's like, I don't know. I do sales, right? I'm doing what I have to do to kind of pay what needs to be paid, but I'm not
Sure.
doing what I love to do.
What do you love?
I love a lot, but that doesn't help narrow down that decision. Photography, graphic design. Yeah, honestly, working at that theater is the passion project, but it doesn't pay much. It's kind of like the George Carlin experience for you. I'm kind of working there. It's kind of like, hey, I'll work this. It's not a really nice job title working in a box office, but I could see and meet all these guys that come through, like Jimmy
Yeah, you
Vaughn,
like the environment.
Buddy Guy, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I'll work there.
Sure.
But yeah, something in entertainment, like marketing, graphic design. I mean, I do a lot of that stuff kind of just on the side, but nothing that pays. So trying to figure that out quick, man.
Well, it will one day. You're only 25. I didn't get paid in comedy very well until in my 30s.
Really?
I remember, yeah. Yeah, early on, especially living in Los Angeles, you're doing shows, and even if I do the top clubs in town, the best one pays $50
At that time?
for a set. No, now the best paying club in LA pays $50. Most of them are closer to like $17 per set. So best case scenario, you do both shows that night at the Improv or something, you make $34.
Are you for real?
I'm for real. And then if you have a hamburger, they're going to give you the 10% discount, but they're going to charge you for that hamburger. So it's like, you don't make money in Los Angeles. They're called showcase clubs. Every comic that's doing it.
It's like the Laugh Factory, like they're a big showcase club, right?
They're a showcase
Every
club.
day.
They say your payment is to be able to go and work on your craft and possibly be seen by somebody who will put you on
Wow.
TV. That's your payment. And somehow we've all accepted it, and we need the stage time, right? So we all take it. And so the best people in the world take, they live in Los Angeles, New York. New York, you get paid a little bit better. Those guys can make $50, $100 a set and do
my
5, 6
gosh,
sets a night.
Holy
So
cow!
it's-
I didn't know that. Like I'm not in it. I love the craft. I love comedy so much, but I did not know that. So the top paying club is, you said, like $50 a set.
$50 a set.
So what constitutes a set? What's considered a set under that definition as far as
So
duration?
at that club, you'll go and you'll do 10 minutes. They've got, on any given night, they've got 6 to 8 comedians,
Oh, that's quick.
and they're all doing 10 minutes, depending on the night.
Wow.
Sometimes they'll have somebody that comes in, like a Paul Reiser, a headliner that they like to have, will come in and do it.
Wow.
But yeah, it's I attribute it to, like, LeBron doesn't get paid to go to the gym and work on his jump shot. He gets paid to play the games. And so that's kind of what it is. Los Angeles is kind of like the gym, where comedians are using it to work on their craft. And as a result, you go do these clubs and you're not, you're expected to be working on it. That's why they only have the best comedians working there, because they can work on things at such a high level that it's still great. Right.
Yeah.
Like early on, when I'd try new jokes, a lot of times they'd bomb. Now I kind of like have my voice established. I know what makes me funny. So I have a much, higher shooting percentage when I go try a new joke. But when I'm doing these clubs, I am trying new jokes. So, it's a little give and take. When I go do the road, it's not as many new jokes. It's like,
Right.
these are the
ones that
guys
hit.
these are the guys that, I'm putting on a show for you guys. And then, I'll sprinkle in a couple new ones, but in Los Angeles, a lot of places I just use those. I'm going to do all new.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go do 10 new minutes here.
Damn, that's
So there's a
crazy.
little bit of an understanding there.
Wow. Oh, damn. That's nuts. I did not know how much. Man, I think the appreciation level's gone through the roof. It's like, damn, these guys are busting. I mean, they look like they're having so much fun up there. You probably are, but it's like at the end, you're like, this doesn't fill up the car, you know?
No, and that's why people get
It's
weeded
the
out. Like, you
grind.
have to love it. You have to love it, because if you don't love it,
That's
especially
unbelievable.
early on, you're not in it for the money. You
Hmm.
have to love it. So
Damn. So you've been in it now. Just you get back to it. You were 2005 ish. You started. When
started at
did
the end
you?
of 2005.
In
So
2005. Yeah.
14 or 15
14,
years,
15
depending
years.
on if you give me credit for the last one.
When did you start getting, getting regular spots like clubs and stuff like that? Did you get? When's the first time you got passed at any place?
The first time I ever did a real club and got paid to do it was at the Ice House.
Where's
And
that?
I got paid. It's in Pasadena.
Pasadena. Oh,
It's been there for 60 years. It was one of the original clubs in
oh
LA. It
man.
was like let's see, the Improv was first, and then the Comedy Store, or vice versa, and then the Ice House came along.
Oh damn.
So Ice House has been there forever. It's legendary. It's a great room. It's like tightly packed, low ceilings. In fact, there was a time when the Tonight Show would not accept a tape recorded at the Ice House because it was too
Really?
good of a club. Like, the crowds were just so jam packed in there, and they were so good that they said, no, anybody can kill in that room. We don't want to see what you've got there because it's juiced. So
That's crazy.
it's nuts. And, and that'll make this story hurt even worse, because it was the first place I got paid. And I thought, okay, you're getting paid to do comedy. You wear a suit. That's what professionals do. They wear a suit. And I'm 23 years old or whatever I am. And so I, dress up in a suit and tie, and I go on stage, and everyone hated my guts. Like, I mean, I'm just this little, tiny child in a suit. Looks like my dad's suit, and I'm trying to be funny. They weren't having it. I bombed that first night, and then the rest of the weekend, that was like Thursday night, and then
Wow.
Friday, Saturday, I just wore jeans and a t-shirt. I was like,
And it
nope.
worked.
It was way better. It was
Yeah.
way better. But that Thursday night was like a kick in the front tooth. I still remember. It still has like PTSD
Man,
inside
that's
of me.
crazy. So for you, what's the rule as far as trying something? Like if it doesn't after X amount of times, you throw it away or it doesn't work. I mean, how many shots do you give new material before you can it?
So it's hard, right? Like, I'll go up there with an idea that's
Hmm.
not fully fleshed out. So before I spend time working on it, I want to see if it resonates with people at all. So a
Sure.
lot of times I'll go up with an idea and a couple of punchlines, and I'll see if, people are recognizing,
Hmm.
even if they're not laughing, can I tell they're identifying with the bit? And so if they're identifying, then I'll go home and work on it and try and make it, I often say that, well, I think that, the job of a comedian is to get everybody on the same page as quickly as possible.
Mm.
So if you've ever told a story or a joke and then gotten to the end and there's no payoff, and you say, I guess you had to be there. The job of a comedian is to get everybody there,
Mm.
so that so that the joke has payoff.
Hmm.
So I'll try and figure out how to get it there as quickly as possible, and then hit the punchlines. And if it starts to work, then great, and I'll expand on it. If it doesn't work, try it again. But I've got enough ideas coming through that I won't give it more than 2 or 3 times, unless I really believe in it. And there are some things that I really believe in, and I stubbornly say, that get a mediocre laugh at best, and they don't belong in the act, but I
still keep using it, though.
stubbornly say it, because I think there's something to that idea that your audience will find you,
Mhm.
and your fans will find you, and they'll gravitate, and then they just know you so well, and they identify with your humor, that it will really hit. So I think for the people that really see eye to eye with me 100%, those are the jokes that are going to keep them around, because
Right.
I think they're so funny. And then, you can lose 30% of the crowd for that one little moment.
It's tough.
It is, and I always feel like a real moron when I do it. I always
Yeah.
feel like, oh, you idiot.
I don't think
you
anyone
just...
feels good.
No, it doesn't feel good to say something and everybody goes, I don't know about that there.
Yeah.
You want to feel You want to feel seen. You want to feel.
accept it. It's like, why am I'm doing this for you? Like, why are you being a like? What's I don't understand this. That's
Yeah,
funny.
man.
Man, that's tough. So yeah, I've never seen many people get up there though, like in a suit. Like there's very few. But I feel like those who do it are like you already know that you're like that's expected of them. Like there's not. I
Right
mean, I can't think of anybody now, like really who does that. I mean,
now,
a special you see someone do it every now and then, but like consistently, I don't. I've never seen someone.
guys do it that do the Tonight Show. I think they still put on a suit for the Tonight Show,
Hmm.
which I still might do if I ever. I don't know if the Tonight Show requires you to wear a suit or not. They might. They
I
might
don't know.
require it. I don't. That would seem weird if they required it.
You do
But
what they want though. It's Tonight Show, right?
it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I'd wear a suit if they said you have to wear a suit. I'd say, all right, let's go buy a suit.
Yeah.
But it just changes your persona. You know, that's something people don't think about is the way you look, especially for crowds that, you know, when I go do a place, there's going to be a percentage of people there that have never heard of me. They just
Hmm.
wanted to go to the comedy club. So, you know, the first second they see me, they're making judgments about me. They're deciding
Sure.
whether or not they like me. And if I'm dressed up too nicely, in my mind, they say, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a guy in a suit, right?
Yeah, well, not in that setting, right? In that setting, you're going there, and you're like, oh, okay, like I don't know if I'm going to relate to this. He may come from, he
Yeah.
may be from a different, level. Like I might
Yeah.
not understand it.
Unless they're a suit person,
Yeah,
then they might not identify. So immediately you're setting yourself up, you know, behind the eight ball.
hmm
So I like to dress down. I like to just wear what's comfortable to me and just wear just something easygoing
yeah,
because I don't want to put off any persona that's not, and it's a suit guy. That's not me. I'm
right.
not talking business. I may have gone to business school, but I'm not going to go up there and talk pie charts and graphs. And I'm just the everyday guy. I'm your neighbor.
Yeah, that's funny, man. So the Ice House. Then after that, well, I mean, when did you start mustering up then the courage to get on the road? Like, do a string of shows, like different cities and stuff. Was it a while after the first, paid spot at the Ice House, or did that happen?
It was.
right
So
away?
that was probably 2006 or 2007 when I got my first paid spot.
Hmm.
And the other clubs, by the way, like Comedy Store has 3 rooms, and so a couple of those you can do early on. A couple of those they'd have either bringer shows or just independently booked shows
Open
where
mics they
you
did.
could get on those. You
Yeah.
could do the open mic in the original room and do a whopping 3 minutes. Uh, and the improv was a little more difficult, but they still had some independent shows every once in a while. You could snake your way on there. But I kept my first rejection letter from the improv. I remember very early on, a couple of years in, I thought, okay, you got a good tape, Nick Hoff. Why don't you send this bad boy in? And I did. I like printed it out like a label for the CD, sent it
It's
in,
funny.
and I got the letter, I got the email back, going through my jokes, telling me what worked, what didn't. And they said, they were very encouraging. They said, you're not ready yet. Submit again in 6 months. And I kept that. And I was kind of like, I'm glad it's not that easy. I'm glad it's not just because then you wouldn't work for it.
Sure,
Uh,
absolutely.
but as heartbroken as it was, I was kind of like, well, at least, there's some encouragement there. It wasn't go home and quit, kid. It was, work on this and resubmit in 6 months. I was like, that I can do that in 6
Yeah,
months.
it worked.
To go on the road, I did it with a couple other guys that I was doing a bunch of open mics and shows around town with. There were 3 other guys, and we all got together one day and we said, hey, we got to do the road. We don't have enough material individually, and we don't have the communication with the clubs to go do it individually. But
Hmm.
what if we banded together and we each did 20 minutes, and then we could fill a show and we can go do independent venues, a few clubs,
Right.
colleges, things like that. And with all 4 of us working hard to book along the way, we booked up a big tour in 2009.
Oh wow.
And we called it the Walk of Shame Comedy Tour. It's just 4 young guys going out, and we did like 60 shows in 48 days or something like
Holy
that,
cow.
going all across the country in a little 4-door sedan. So it was like very shoestring, but we had a blast. We drank way too much beer and did a bunch of shows and built up some relationships with clubs and grew as comics, doing 20 minutes each night as opposed to in
Oh,
Los
man.
Angeles doing 7 minutes or something like
That's
that.
crazy.
And then we did the same thing again in 2010 where we made it now a 3-month tour, and we did a bunch more shows, and we went back and across and doing some of the same places, adding new places.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I kind of started. That's how I quit my job and never went back, because I got, those big chunks of the year booked up, and then I, just kept booking out. Comedian's job is just keep, casting that line 3 to 6 months out ahead of yourself. Make sure you always have those shows booked up. And then I just kept going like that.
Damn, man. So you said quit your job. What were you doing beforehand? Because it sounded like you said when you graduated, you went right to LA for comedy. Was there
I
something
did, but
in
you got to
between?
make money. So
That's true, yeah.
I lived on the floor of a friend of a friend for the first couple months, and I got a job as my first job was a logger, which means you're watching reality television footage and you're literally
Ooh.
typing into a program what's happening. So, they'll record 18 hours a day, and they need somebody to go through all that footage to say what's happening so that the editor can go through and grab the highlights, not just the 3 hours where the camera was just focusing on somebody tying their shoe. And so I did it with this company called Triage, which ended up being involved in comedy. They
Oh, no
merged
kidding.
with,
Wow.
it was weird. And the guy there was a big comedy fan. So we found out that I wanted to do stand-up. We kind of talked about it. They ended up doing a lot of the Comedy Central specials and things like that.
That's awesome.
It didn't help me at all, because I was gone by the time they got into that. But yeah, they merged with Levity and all that, and I think they own the Improvs and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
When I got there, they said, we've got 2 shows going right now. We've got this show on the Home and Garden Network, and then we've got this show, The Making of a Dallas Cowboy Cheerleader. I was like, okay, I'll do that one. I'm not gonna watch. I'm not gonna watch plants grow. I'll just watch pretty girls run around. And so I did that. So I'd come in when everybody else was leaving. It was a night job, so I'd come in at 6 p.m. and I'd be there until 4 a.m. And I'd just be sitting there watching this footage. I just put in a tape, watch this footage, and type, at 1 hour and 33 minutes, 17 seconds, Rebecca cries because she misses her home, things like that.
Man.
And I just would do that until 4 a.m. and I would eat so many bags of potato chips sitting there.
Oh, yeah, that sounds fun though, kind of, right? Just
I was in there with another
and
guy,
typing, like,
and
oh, that's
just
funny.
be joking, and I'd just be licking my fingers, typing into the computer.
Not too bad.
I did that for a few weeks, and then I got a job with a commercial production company that did music videos and commercials, and I was working in the vault there. So I would update the website, send out the director's reels, things like that.
Oh, that's actually cool.
It was a really cool company. I wish that my job had been more interesting within the company, but I got to see a lot of cool work and meet some interesting people.
Damn, man.
So
that's awesome. That's
I did
actually
that
a lot
until
cooler
2009,
than
and
I
then
thought. Wow.
and you got a lot of downtime because you're so often you're rendering and uploading and stuff like that. So in the downtime, write jokes and book shows.
Yeah, that's perfect because you don't have to talk to anyone. You don't got it. You're on your own.
Pretty much. You answer the phone 3 times a day when somebody says, "Hey, we need this," and then you start doing it.
That's funny though, because I'm laughing as you talk about that, because I kid you not, lately I've been looking for another job, and one of the jobs I've been looking at is people send in videos. They could be short films, they can be podcasts. You go in there and you transcribe them and you send them off for money. This company called
yeah.
So I've been looking at it.
Writing the closed caption.
Yeah, I'm laughing. I go, hey, what the hell? That's what I was thinking. I mean, because you work your own schedule, right? If you want, you could take up all these, jobs at a time. My luck, I'd get probably 3 feature films doing 2 weeks. But no, yeah, I mean, the thing is for me is I can't do that, right? My writing's horrible. I was telling my folks the other day, it's they need to invent, and I'm sure Nate Bargatze would endorse this. They need to invent something to where people who don't know how to spell things or write normally. I could speak into existence what I'm thinking. I know what I want to say, and I could do it, but it's just all wrong. Sure. Spell check, you have that. But it's one thing where you could submit it, upload, and it just fix it, grammatical structures, put semicolons. I want that because I don't know how to write. That's the thing that's holding me back.
Isn't that going to stunt you even more though?
I'm not gunning for English professor or anything. I mean, I've tried to get something that will help me get something that I want to do. I feel like a lot of the jobs are they ask it too much, right?
Right.
I like why the first thing is there's a comedian unfortunately who just passed away. I think it was I can't remember his last name. It's horrible the story. He was actually start of 2020. He was going to do a show down in Austin and he got hit by a car. I think it was Eric.
Yeah, it was Eric Myers.
Eric Myers. He had a think about that too. It's like job applications, right? The whole Taco Bell thing. How'd you hear about us?
Right,
It's like,
right. People
but
would
it's the
pass that
thing.
around when
It's
he
like
died,
I
yeah.
don't understand that. Like, the question is, I want the job. Like, why do you asking? I don't understand why the system is set up that way. I feel it's like, I mean, I don't know.
Because they don't know
stupid.
any other way to weed through the candidates. They don't
Mm.
know how. You don't need all that, but they're just going to ask you to jump through these hoops and
Who's
answer
gonna
these
do the work?
ridiculous questions. If there was a way for them to just look into a crystal ball, make that decision, they would. But they don't. Interviewers don't know any better way. And
Mm.
with so many applicants, you can ask people to jump through hoops because guess what? People are going to do it.
Yeah, they do.
They
They
want a
do.
couple people, and you're going to weed some people out that don't want to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, so you get in there and you start doing this stuff. At what point? When did the wife come along?
So I met her in college, so she knew
Wow, she was
this
in it.
was a goal.
She
Yeah,
was
man.
committed. That you got a good one then.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, I tricked her. So
Yeah.
hard.
I'm gonna do
She
business.
had no idea.
Comedy.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, I got a business major." Oh, wait, what? He wants to tell jokes for a living? This is
Yeah.
horrible business. And so and it was cool because she would come on the road with me. She was a teacher.
Oh
So
man.
every summer we'd just be gone for 3 months, and she'd come with me, and it was awesome. Couple shows she'd open the show.
Wait,
Like
she does
if
comedy?
we didn't have an open, no, she doesn't do
No.
comedy. But she claims she's done it 21 times. So because if there was no host, it would be just you got to host. I can't host. I can't go up there cold. So she'd go up and just take that bullet and do 2 jokes. She had 2 jokes written, and she'd go up and do her 2 jokes and then introduce me.
Damn.
So
Wow,
yeah, it
you're
was
lucky.
beautiful. Dude, she's great. She hates me now. She hates me now that we have 3 kids and I leave on the weekends. She's like, damn you. But no, she's great. So she was there the whole time.
Oh man, I was gonna say because I know some people, they usually like some people. The people that I've talked to, they've met them after doing it, right? After doing, in comedy, and I've asked them before. I'm like, and they're like, oh, I was with so many different people. I just can't seem to be in a relationship. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And the thing is, I think a lot of it has to do now. Like you're in a good spot. I don't have to ask you this question, but people are like, I don't think I could, be with someone who isn't a comedian. I asked them why, and they're like, because like I would know the schedule, right? They know the schedule. You don't have to worry about you're always gone, Like
Right,
there's that routine, but damn, I say you won the jackpot.
Well, first of all, I don't know who you're interviewing, but for a comedian to say they
From
want
the
another
outside
comedian,
in, I don't know
such a
anything.
Huge mistake. Huge mistake. I got a buddy who just got married to another comedian. And we're like, what are you doing? Like, come on, we're crazy people. Comedians are crazy people. You can't have 2 people that are crazy in the same house.
Jealousy.
It's never gonna work. But I see it. It's like who was what's the guy's name that from Seattle? You had him on your show.
King Holloway.
No. Well, first of all, there you go.
Yeah, I
There's
talked
one
to
that
Kane
didn't
about
work.
that. He started that conversation. I didn't want to go there. That was the
I
first
didn't know
thing
what
he said.
happened with them.
Yeah.
No, it's Andy Haynes.
Oh,
Andy
yes,
Haynes married
Andy.
a comedian. I'm going, you frickin' moron. This is never gonna work. You need one person that's sane, and that's my wife. You need the medium head person that is got a rock on their shoulders. You can't have 2 numbnuts. Plus, you're living the same life. Well, who takes the jokes? Who takes them? These people are going to get in arguments. Andy and I forget what his wife's name was.
Rosebud.
Rosebud.
Yeah.
They're going to argue over who that happened to both of us. Well, who gets it? Oh, you do your take, I'll do mine.
See,
Someone's
there's a
going to be better.
competition thing.
And
Like,
then
why'd
there's
you get
gonna
that
be
spot?
paid.
That's bullshit. I should get that spot,
Exactly.
But they've been in it for a while, It's not like
Oh, they're doomed.
you think
They're doomed. I like Andy. I had him on my pod. He's doomed.
he's doomed. Clip this. We gotta clip that. But no, that's yeah, no. I mean, well, that's the thing too. Is like when I talked to Kane about that. Like I don't know. I mean, there's more people aren't opening up to me like I'm their doctor or anything. But that was the pandemic put that too on a lot of the comedians too who were both comics. You're home. Like, you're not on the road. Like, you're
Yeah.
seeing them every day, all day, every hour. Is it going to work? And I not even with comics, but I think you saw that with a lot of people, like
Oh
just in
yeah.
general the past year.
Oh yeah. It's a steel cage death match. Having everybody at home all the time. That's not. It wasn't meant to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Even in olden times, the men would go out and hunt.
Right.
They couldn't stay in that cabin. They couldn't stay in that cave all day long. It's just a recipe for disaster. And so you got two comedians, and they have no outlet. They can't do the shows, so they're going crazy. Sometimes I'll be going crazy in the house. My wife will say, "Hey, you gotta go do a show. Like, you have to go." Because I can tell you're getting pissy because you haven't performed in 2 days. You got to get out there and go do something.
Oh, so they're supportive of it, though.
Like,
That's
right.
good.
Yes, it's supportive for the most part. Some of it's selfish. She just like, get the hell out of here because I'm used to you being gone too. Like, I want to watch what I want to watch.
Right. Oh man, that's crazy. That's funny. So how did the past year work then? Like at the start of it, like you have all the kids. I mean, how young are they? They young?
It's tough.
Kids?
We got 7, 5, and 3, so all 2 years apart. And we escaped. Los Angeles locked down like crazy, and people weren't allowed to. Like the parks closed.
Second week of March,
Kids
first
weren't
week
allowed.
of March.
Yeah, kids weren't allowed on parks, so you couldn't even. There was a big grassy area that I was like, "We'll just go there. We'll kick a soccer ball." It was roped off, like like 2 soccer fields worth of grass, roped off. Like, can't go out there. You're spread coronavirus. I was like, "You morons!" So, with no work and no reason, no school to be there, we escaped. We went to the Midwest and just hung out with family for like a couple months over the summer, because we were like, they're open there in Indiana and Nebraska. They're open, so that's where both of our families are from. So we just went there and hung out with cousins and stuff like that.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah, we couldn't have handled it here. We couldn't have.
Yeah,
it would have been over.
Damn.
So it was good to get out, and we room to run, and the cousins can play with each other, and so that's how we survived it. Because I don't think it would have happened if we lived in like a small apartment in New York or something, or if we had stayed here. Would never have worked.
What do you think? What do you think would have happened?
Eventually, I get mad internally, and I express it, like, I project my anger. So there would have been me doing a lot of blaming,
patching drywall.
I punched something in college and it hurt, so I don't think I'd be breaking a lot of drywall. But it would have been. I'd have gotten myself in trouble on more than one occasion, and she probably would have had good reason to walk away.
Oh man,
I would have been like,
really?
I agree with her. She gets half.
That would have been it. Damn, that's crazy. Well, that's at least that worked out in your favor. I mean, there's a lot of, Los Angeles. I mean, they shut down. I know the Warriors. They were like the first team to like do anything. Like their players thought it was a joke. Like it's like end of February they called it. They pulled. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, everyone else filed suit. It's like, what did they know? I felt like they had like intel, right? Like they knew more than us, like the country. It was weird.
Yeah, some people knew, and I called it pretty early on. I remember talking to my manager when that one show was canceled, and I had to fly back, and I said, "That's it. 2020's a wrap." And she goes, "No. I hope that's not true." I was like, guess what?
We all did, but
it was the only way that I was able to stay somewhat sane, was to call it at that point for myself and just look at all my dates on the schedule and be like, none of these are happening. Because had I held out hope that they were happening, then each one would have been a little mini disaster. Each one would have been just a tragedy in my mind. But because I wrote them all off and I said 2020 is a wrap, then when it became a reality, I was kind of like, I knew it. I knew this was happening. And so I protected myself a little bit in that way by kind of being a doomsday scenario guy. Plan, what do they say? The plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Something like, yes, I think that's how
what
it's
I did.
worded. Yeah. Well, that's what you got to do. I was listening to the comedy album actually today during work. I was listening to your album. I didn't finish through all of it, but there was one thing in there that I thought was great, was the whole flying the plane thing, going to Denver.
Oh yeah.
Is that why you drive still? Like, is there really, like, what sparked that? Like, was there real fear for you, like, What happened? Was it that moment that you're like, screw it, I'm not doing planes anymore? What happened early on that was so traumatic that you just like planes?
I've been pretty afraid to fly for quite some time. I don't like heights. I don't
Yeah,
like heights, and that's what airplane travel is to me. It's
yeah, you're pretty
heights.
high. Yeah,
You think
look,
about like what's under your feet, like a little bit of stuff,
yeah.
and then just 30,000 feet of air. That's terrifying to me. So I used to be a wreck, and uh, you know, I used to have to drink alcohol before I get on a plane.
That's
Now I'm
pretty
pretty good
traumatic. I mean, that's a big thing for you.
because
Damn.
you have to fly most every week, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it was like having
Wow.
tiny. And I'm not a guy that gets panic attacks, but I was like as close to a panic attack as I can get to get on an airplane. And this is the dumbest thing. This is how dumb. I know this is dumb, and I still do it. I read an article about like celebrities and their fear of flying
Mm-hmm.
years ago. Years ago, I read this article, and oh, this is so stupid. Uh, it was Jennifer Aniston who said she takes her foot and she taps the outside of the plane right before she boards. And I read it and I said, that's so stupid. That's dumb. And ever since I've read it, I have done that. Ever since I read it, I was like, well, she's not dead. So every
It's
single
working for
time I
her.
get on an airplane, no matter what, I will put my right hand on
That's
it and
I
I
do
will
that. I
like
do the cross.
tap.
That's what I do.
You do the cross?
Yeah.
I will and I tap my right foot on the outside of the airplane. I know that like flight attendants have watched me do that. Go, what was
Should
that?
we be on the lookout for this guy? What was that?
What did he just do? Kick a hole in the side of the plane? I will tap it, and I know it's stupid, and I still do it because I don't want to get on it
That's not
and
dumb.
be like, "Ooh,
I do
I
the
forgot
same
to,
thing.
I forgot to tap."
My mom, she'll like when I was younger, we didn't go much places, but when we did, she had holy water, and she'd be like that's if we're going down, we're dead. Like nothing's gonna. It's not. I had ever understood that, but then I started to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, yeah, it's dumb, but I don't know why we do stuff like that. That's probably why you hit the. Is that why you hit the road with Dean? Because I think he drives everywhere.
Dude, I mean, if it's under 7 hours, I'll drive it. Like about Phoenix is as far as I will get,
Mm.
and then I'm like, okay, I gotta fly because this is getting ridiculous. I don't know what it is. I'm a control freak. I know that. If we're driving, I'm driving. Like I
Mm.
don't like riding shotgun. I don't like being a passenger. I don't care. You know, I would if I get on bus, I would almost rather drive the bus than ride.
Ooh, really?
I'd almost rather just be like, hey, dude, take the day off. You go sit in third row. I got this. Like that's why I'll probably never own a Tesla because I don't want
Trust
to.
issues.
I
You
have
want
trust
to,
issues. I
yeah.
want to be the guy that's in charge. And so at an airplane, you have no
It's out of your
control.
hands. Yeah.
They've locked the door to the controls. You can't get up there if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the ultimate, like I just have to release it, and now I'll get on and I'll just usually try and sleep. It helped out. I used to be afraid, but I would do it. And then I had a kid, and somebody said to me, my kid was like, he was probably like a year old, and I was flying somewhere, and they go, oh, your kid's only a year old, so if you die, he won't know who you were. He won't remember you. And
Like, who are you? You're gonna take us
right?
down here?
You dick. It messed with me. And so, like, it was the next week I got life insurance. And now, as dumb as that is, like, that, like, gives me a
Should've-
little bit of comfort. Like, at least they'll have money. At
Oh,
least they'll
man.
remember me through the money that I
What
left
miserable
them.
person would say that though? Like, how'd you get into that
I can't remember
conversation?
who it was. I think I've killed them off in my head, and they're gone out of my life. I think at that moment I wrote them off. I can't for the life of me, I can't remember who said that to me, but it like made a profound impact, and I
Wow.
was having like little mini panic attacks.
I don't know
thinking-
I don't know how you even get into that. Like, what sparks? Like, why would someone question that?
I think
That's
they were just
weird.
thinking out loud
Yeah.
and not doing a good job of it. I think their little filter man, dropped the. What
Well,
do
it
you call it?
helps.
Dropped
You
the
got
boat?
life insurance, so that's good.
Got life insurance, and now it makes me feel a little bit better. Like
Yeah.
we hit massive turbulence, and I kind of think, okay, at least there's a silver lining down there.
Yeah. Well, the reason I brought that up though is too because I remember that because my brother went to the Air Force Academy. So when we would go visit him in Colorado, we'd fly from Chicago to there. That would happen.
Are you
And
talking about the
Denver,
re-landing or
the
just
re-landing
the?
thing where you just kind of, it's like
Oh, you've had to re-land?
well, they've done that thing where you're like kind of circling around the city.
Yeah,
I'm like, what
I
is
had never
this?
had
I
that.
didn't understand that until I went to go visit him in Colorado for his graduation.
Yeah, Colorado, Denver just has those mountains around it. Phoenix has it a little bit, but Denver's the worst, and it's just massive turbulence. And I remember we were coming into land, and all of a sudden we just took right back off, and it was, it wasn't 9/11 had happened a long time ago, but I was like looking at it going, why is that
Mm,
happening? They're not announcing anything over the speakers. Nobody acts like that was weird that we didn't just land.
that's
Like
what
everybody else
pisses
is
you
just
off. You're like, how is
looking
this
straight
not
ahead,
registering? Like,
right?
we
Look at
almost
me.
died.
Look at me, Margaret. Why did this
Yeah,
happen? I
it's
need
funny.
answers right now. And yeah, that was terrifying. That was terrifying. I don't like it at all. So yeah,
Man,
every hour that I build, there's stuff about airplanes, which I think that's true of a lot of comics because there's so
hmm
much travel in our day-to-day life.
sure.
So, you write what you know. But yeah, I
Damn,
have to
man.
make sure anytime I write one, I'm like, yeah, this has to come from your own perspective. Otherwise, it's going to be, airplane peanuts. Ho ho.
So, just to kind of backtrack and touch on the people you started with. So, who were the guys? Who were the guys that you got your start with? Are they still around? They still doing it? You
Nope,
laugh it
comedy
up.
weeds people out.
You did it.
There's one guy who still does it a little bit down in Tampa. His name's Law Smith.
Awesome.
Yeah, other than that, Brennan Gleeson, after that second tour, I don't think he did comedy. And then a guy who I think is one of the funniest people I know in real life, and he was a great writer, is Kevin Richards out of Seattle.
Hmm.
And he was just so damn funny. And he did it for a few months after our tour, but he had a serious girlfriend at the time he was trying to propose to,
Hmm.
and I think he just like went straight. I think he started his
Well,
own
he
business.
made a decision. That's good.
He made a decision, but he
It
hasn't done
worked
comedy.
out.
It always bums me out because he was so dang funny. And I'll call him sometimes when I have a bit that I'm working on, and just to see what he has to say about it because
Hmm.
he's just so good. He's got a good eye for it.
Damn, that's crazy. Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. Some people, from what I hear, is like, I don't know if nothing's hitting consistently, or if they have, you know, more bad nights than good nights for a stretch of time. That's enough to throw them off the tracks. It's like they can't, like, I don't know, like they can't take no. I think that's a very hard thing to
Yep.
not be able to do if you're trying to do that.
And if you don't love it, and I think his problem was he was a great writer and he wasn't a great performer. And I
Mm,
think that incubated me a little bit because I was a better performer than I was a writer. And so I could make a mediocre joke good
mm-hmm.
or make a bad joke mediocre. And so that protected me a little bit. Like I could weasel a little bit of something out of a bad crowd or out of a bad set.
Hmm.
If he started going down and having a bad set, he was going down with the ship. There were no tricks. There was no, flash of a smile and do a dance on. There was nothing.
There's no way to pull him out of there. He couldn't
If
do
the
it.
joke wasn't landing, it was just gonna crash. And so I think that incubated me a little bit and protected me from the really bad nights, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have that. And so I think, yeah, he may have just fallen out of love with it.
Stuff happens. So then you get
Well, stuff happens.
I mean, it's just what it is, I guess. And I think Marin has a joke about that too, where like over time you like zanies, right? You go there and you see these photos, like I wonder what happened to that guy. Like these people.
Yeah.
It's just like they just disappear, but then they come back. And you're like, oh, okay, and it's just weird how that works. I don't understand it. It's just
Some come back, but you've been to the downtown zanies? Like
I've
I'm
been to
doing the one in,
Rosemont, St. Charles one. St. Charles one was like the second one ever done. They
it's
just
gone
closed
now,
down.
isn't it?
Yeah, it was in a barn. It was weird.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Chicago yet. I'm gonna be going there to see Andy, and Aaron Weber actually before Andy. Aaron's a couple weeks from now. I think he'll be there June. I'll see you at Rosemont.
Nice.
But yeah, I've never been to Chicago one. It looks really tiny.
It's small. It like seats 110 maybe, but they've got just walls of comedians' headshots. And yeah, it's kind of sad when you go through and look and you go, I don't know who 70% of these people are, but at some point they were good enough to get their picture on the wall at Zanies.
Mm.
and you go, holy crap, like there are a lot of nameless faces here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I cannot let that be me. I
Is that
cannot. I have to
discouraging?
continue to
Like,
work
it's
hard.
like you see people
It's
are like, damn, that guy was good. How did I beat him? Like,
no, it's not discouraging. It's scary, but it's not discouraging. I think you look at it and the business is not fair.
mm-hmm.
You got to be a little lucky, but you also have to work hard and you have to be
Sure.
talented. Like those three things all have to hit. Like it's not good enough to just have one. I've seen the most talented people, my buddy Kevin, super talented, just was unlucky or, didn't want to work at it.
Yeah.
All three of those things have to be firing at the same time. And if you don't have all three, then you're not going to have longevity in the
It's not
business.
gonna work. It's not gonna work. So when did you, after being in it for as long as you have, what is over the years? Who were the guys that you kind of were able to work with? Who were the big ones, or the people that you really had a good time working with? I mean, all of them you liked, I'm sure, but who were
Most
the
of them.
yeah
Most of them. Like some
who
of
were
them
the
are
guys
turds.
that made you go, holy shit, it's him? I'm working with him. Were there any of them?
Halfway. What the heck is it? It's like a bird is hitting. No. Oh, my
Hmm.
kid's shooting his Nerf gun. at my window.
He's saying, "Come on,
He's like, come
come
on, is
over."
it done?
Almost.
I mean, first 5 years in, you'd see guys at the Comedy Store, and you might even be on the same bill with them.
Mhm.
And so, and that would blow your mind. You'd be sitting in there, and Chris Rock would drop in, and you're like, "No, I was just on stage, an hour ago, and now Chris Rock's on the same stage." Like that's amazing. I remember seeing Robin Williams pop in,
Oh
and
wow!
like really impact, and he bombed. He bombed, and you go, "Oh, okay. If he can bomb, then nobody's above it."
Right?
Nobody's above it, so you can shake off any night.
Mm-hmm.
So that was positive in that way, and he was so nice and gracious, and just like I didn't talk to him a lot, but he just like was quiet and reserved, and that was cool. Jim Gaffigan would do a lot
Oh
of the same
yeah.
shows, and he'd be doing garbage shows that I'd be doing. Like he'd show up on these whatever shows, like not even in a club, like just at a bar, and you're going, "Whoa, you're really." And he wasn't Gaffigan as we know him now, but I mean, like he was still way bigger than you're like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And so that was cool. And then 5 years ago, I got the opportunity and I got to work with Larry the Cable Guy and Jeff Foxworthy.
Oh wow.
And I worked with them. I still work with them sometimes. And I worked with them for their big tour. They did 4 years worth of a tour, and I got to open on all those shows. So we're
Holy
playing
cow.
arenas and all these big theaters, and that was amazing. And especially, I grew up in Nebraska. I don't really have like a redneck aspect to my act, but it's PG-13. It's not offending anybody, and it's
Right.
fun. So I think it worked, and it was fun to bring their crowds in, and like
That was a perfect combination. Absolutely perfect combination.
so much fun, and playing those huge places, which was never very terrifying. Like a lot
Really?
that's people often think, isn't that scary to do a big play? No, that's
Well, you're not having a complete interaction with them, right? I mean, I know what you're trying to probably get at here is when you're in a big place, it's like you can't really like, a lot of comedy is based on feeling the seeing how people in the crowd are reacting to it. When you're in that, you can't do that.
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't surf, but it's almost like being in a wave pool or something. You're interacting with the waves, which is, thousands of little water droplets all at
Mhm.
once. You're not individually seeing the water droplets.
Right.
You're like interacting with things. So yeah, you're interacting with a chunk of people. And it was so much fun and so cool to me to be able to do that. And so those guys have been, and they were great to work with. They were genuinely nice dudes. They would rib me at times, but nothing that like scarred me for life, but just in fun, playful interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought me into their world, and that was really awesome. So
That's cool, man.
that was huge for me.
That's
And getting
awesome.
to perform in front of that many people and bring on new fans and things like that, that was really cool.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, listen, Nick, I appreciate you doing this, man. I'll see you at Zany's the 24th, 5th, and 6th. You'll be there. So, Rosemont, I will see you, man. I appreciate you doing this.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, man.
You bet, man. Take care.
Bye.